Pastor Roy Gearhart from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. Ever go to an estate sale and look around the house? It's like a time capsule. Most homes are like they're frozen in time because most of us quit making improvements to our home 10, 20, even 30 years before we die. It's as if we are stuck in our ways. We decide that we don't want anything more to change. Maybe life is changing so much that we just try to hold on to the past and stop living like there's a future. Sometimes we end up worn out and can't make any more choices. But we end up at this spot where we've just quit and just stay stuck in a spot, living more in our past than in a future. Now, I have a friend whose story was so much different from that. When she was diagnosed with cancer, it was already stage 4, and she did not have a positive prognosis at all. But she gained a strength from God to live longer than anyone expected, and to live every moment of it with a vitality and an energy that was, well, amazing. Nothing short of miraculous. In fact, the last couple of years of her life, she made improvements to her home, even added on an addition. Instead of living like her life was behind her, she lived like it was in front of her. You see, life is going to change all of us. There are going to be hard knocks lessons that we're all going to face, things that we must adapt to. And those kinds of lessons can help us to grow and to mature, make a better person of us, because we gain an appreciation of life. We become a person who is more engaged. Or sometimes those tough times just make us hard and bitter people. You see, there is a really powerful element to change, and that is our choice in it. We can choose to change and choose how we will change. That's where the power of God comes into play most clearly and most inspiringly in our lives. In fact, in the Bible, there's a story of a woman named Rahab who makes a choice that is life-changing. She is a woman in the city of Jericho, and we've talked about the Battle of Jericho and the walls falling down. This is a miraculous event that can overshadow just this incredible story of one person in the midst of that crowd. Rahab was a prostitute in the city of Jericho, and when Joshua sent 2 spies ahead into the city of Jericho, they came to the home of Rahab. Why? Well, where else do you go when you're strangers in a city? And who's going to let you into their home? Especially if they find out that you're one of those Israelites, part of that army that's coming down the road, threatening to conquer everything in its path. As you see, Rahab opens her home to them. Does she do it just as a couple of clients? Well, maybe at first. But she recognizes who they are. If she had missed it, the king made sure that she knew. The king of Jericho had found out that a couple of Israelites had entered the city and had gone to her home. He sent her a message in secret to say, "Turn them over to us. These are our enemies." But Rahab, she hid them. She hid them, covered their tracks, gave them a cover story, and sent the king off on a wild goose chase. Why did she do that? Well, Rahab explained to those men that she believed that the Lord was giving this land over to them. She said everyone was frightened of them. They all had heard about what God had done at the Red Sea. They'd seen how powerfully God had enabled them to conquer other people around them. And so they were all afraid. But she was making a choice. Instead of just being frightened and treating them as her enemies, she was making a choice to change sides. She wanted to change her identity from a member of the people of Jericho to become part of the people of Israel. She declared this because she believed that God was going to do this thing. He was going to give the city and all of this land over to the people of Israel. It was this belief in God that motivated her to make a change in her life, to change her identity and to change her future. She appealed to these men to please protect her and her family the way that she had protected them, and they did. Her whole future was changed, and for generations to come, her name would be remembered. Can you and I make those kind of choices? You bet we can. By the power of God, in His grace. This is where God's power and His purpose, the vitality of trusting in God, really comes to the forefront when you let God lead you to make those choices of change that make life better. May God bless you. And as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever He takes you.